The dust rolled across the plains like a living thing, curling around the hooves of the lone cowboy's horse as he rode toward the Apache settlement. His hat was pulled low, shadowing eyes that had seen too much blood and too many graves. Folks called him Coal Rider, a drifter with a past no one could pin down, and a silence that unsettled men twice his size. He had come to trade horses and leave before nightfall, or so he thought. But fate had other designs waiting beneath the wide, merciless sky. At the edge of the village stood 3 women dressed in mourning black, their eyes sharp as flint. They were widows, Apache widows, and grief had hardened into something colder. When they saw Cole dismount, their whispers cut sharper than knives. A white cowboy wandering alone into Apache land was either a fool or prey. They laughed openly, mocking the way he walked, the worn leather of his boots, the quiet dignity in his posture. To them, he was nothing but another broken man clinging to dust and pride. The 3 widows, Nita, Sally, and Keona, had lost their husbands in a brutal skirmish years earlier, a fight that left scars on the tribe and bitterness in their hearts. They had learned to trust no man, especially not one who carried himself like a storm, waiting to break. They circled him with words instead of weapons, teasing his silence, calling him weak for riding alone. Cole said nothing. He tied his horse, met their eyes once, and that single look made their laughter falter for half a breath. There was no fear in him, only a deep, unreadable calm. Still, pride pushed them forward, and they mocked him harder, drawing the attention of the village. Warriors paused. Children watched. Elders listened. By sundown, the whispers reached the ears of the tribe leader, Chief Makai, a man whose presence commanded silence without effort. He observed from a distance as Cole stood unmoving under the ridicule, never raising his voice, never defending himself. Makai had seen many men beg, boast, or break under lesser pressure. This one did none of those things. When a young warrior shoved Cole's shoulder, testing him, Cole steadied himself but did not strike back. The dust settled. The moment stretched. Makai raised a hand and the village froze. That night, Cole was summoned to the council fire. The widows stood nearby, arms crossed, expecting entertainment or punishment. Instead, Makai questioned Cole about his past. Cole spoke plainly. Former ranch hand, former soldier, former everything. War had taken his family. The land had taken his future. He rode because standing still hurt too much. His words were simple, but the fire reflected a truth that could not be faked. Makai listened, then turned to the widows. Their mockery, he said, had dishonored not the cowboy, but themselves. The tribe needed unity, not poison. Gasps rippled through the crowd when Makai delivered his judgment. The widows would marry. Coal Rider, not as punishment alone, but as balance. 3 broken lives bound to one man who carried pain without letting it rot him. The widows protested, anger flashing brighter than grief. Cole himself stiffened, finally speaking. He did not ask for wives. He did not ask for mercy. Makai's eyes hardened. This was not a request. This was law. Under the stars, as the fire cracked and the wind whispered through the plains, 4 lives were forced onto the same path, none of them knowing whether it led to healing or destruction. Marriage did not soften the widows' hearts overnight. The shared lodge felt colder than the open plains. Nita spoke with blades hidden in her words. Sally ignored Cole completely. Keona watched him like a hunter waiting for weakness. Cole rose before dawn, tended the horses, hauled water, and kept his distance. He never demanded respect, never raised his voice. Days turned into weeks, and the village began to notice something unsettling. Peace. No shouting. No bruises, no shame. Cole treated the widows not as property, but as equals bound by circumstance. That confused them more than cruelty ever could. When a rival tribe attacked during a moonless night, everything changed. Arrows screamed through darkness. Fire leapt from lodge to lodge. Cole fought like a man who had already died once and refused to do it again. He shielded the widows with his body, took a blade to the shoulder without a sound, and kept fighting until the attackers fled. By morning, the village stood, but many were wounded. Cole collapsed only after the danger passed. The widows tended his injuries in silence. hands trembling as they realized the truth. This man they mocked had chosen them over his own life. Recovery was slow. Trust came slower. But walls cracked. Nita saw the loneliness in his eyes when he thought no one was watching. Zali heard him whisper names of the dead in his sleep. Kiona learned he carried a small carved horse in his pocket, the last gift from a child he buried with his own hands. Pain recognized pain. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, the widows sat beside him without anger for the first time. Words were unnecessary. Chief Mahkai watched it all unfold. His decision, harsh as it seemed, had done what force never could. 4 wounded souls found balance in shared survival. The widows no longer mocked. The cowboy no longer rode alone. The tribe gained not just a warrior, but a symbol that strength was not in cruelty, but in endurance and restraint. By the season's end, Cole no longer felt like a stranger. He still wore his hat low. He still spoke little. But when he walked through the village, children smiled, warriors nodded, and 3 women stood at his side. Not conquered, not owned, but choosing to stay. Under the endless sky, the man once laughed at as a fool became something far rarer. A bridge between worlds built from pain, honor, and quiet strength.